All right, we are back at it again, finally for week 4 of the UPDL Season 2. This is the Glowboro Kings' 4th week against the Albany Ariadoses, led by the venerable Coach Archie. Getting into it, this is a horrifying team. My entire team already feels to outspeed Darkrai, and when you put in boosting Blaziken and Gyarados in there, and also just the blitzing speed of a Dragapult, it makes for an offensive profile that is really tough to deal with, especially where you have Blaziken and Dragapult running mixed sets or whichever attacking value they want. Beyond that, you also have a horrifyingly potent defensive utility wall here. I mean, Garganacl, Galarian Weezing, Amoonguss, that Prankster on Illumise, Palossand, Incineroar, Parting Shot and intimidating you away. There is a lot to be scared of, and that's without even mentioning Ariados, the titular, bringing that Sticky Web and making you have to bring that move slot for hazard removal. So, really scary team. Here are the speed tiers, and now there's a noticeable break between that Blaziken and Incineroar, and I was trying to keep that in mind when creating my speed tiers because I was planning on bringing Trick Room to this. And speaking of Trick Room and speed tiers, speed control is just the name of the game here. The entire process of team building was formed around this idea that I need to be hitting those threats before they hit me, because nobody wants to take that banded Dragapult, even if Ogerpon is spec for it. And speaking of Ogerpon being spec for it, we have Ogerpon running a Zen Headbutt, Ivy Cudgel knockoff, and Trailblaze on an Adamant Nature with a bit of bulk. And that Trailblaze is there to be able to outspeed Dragapult with a +1. It's also there to allow it to race those +1s against Blaziken and Gyarados while also breaking sashes and getting some utility out of it. As well, it is HP'd to live a banded Dragapult Dragon Darts, which is pretty nice. And just as a sweeper, it can deal with quite a lot, and it makes for a good late game threat to clean up. Moving on, we've got Raging Bolt here with the Blunder Policy and Zap Cannon set. This is one of my favorites. Is it good? Arguably not. Inconsistent, definitely. But you know what? Is it flashy? Still not really. But I love it. We are running Thunderclap for that strong prio. It will two-shot Blaziken, and after rocks, it will have a chance to one-shot. It can take care of Darkrai and Galarian Articuno, as well as just getting important chip and damage and securing revenge kills on other members. Snarl is really nice. It lets it take care of some of those special attacks that could switch in on it. It helps deal with like a Palossand Earth Power or a Darkrai Ice Beam, or a Galarian Weezing fairy type move. Further on, the Blunder Policy lets it outrun a Dragapult, and if it hits or doesn't hit, it's still going to outrun that Dragapult next turn because it's having its speed if it hits, and it's doubling Raging Bolts if it doesn't. So it's kind of a cheeky way of doing speed control. Of course, you're risking the 50% accuracy there, but with a team like this, a little bit of gambling might bring some fortune. Next up, we got Stack Attack 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 Attack, running a Covert Cloak this week with a Fighting Terra type, some special bulk there, Relaxed Nature, no speed IVs because we're running Trick Room here. So Trick Room allows it to be the fastest thing in the speed order. It underspeeds all of Archie's slow threats, and it, of course, underspeeds all the fast ones. And the Covert Cloak here is really important because it is my designated way of dealing with Garganacl here. Nothing else on my team is specifically designed for, but it wants to lure in Garganacl's Salt Cure with that Steel typing, giving it that boosted Salt Cure, and reducing the damage to 0, and then getting that Body Press out to counterattack. Next up, we got Clodsire, running the Unaware with the Black Sludge. A Careful Nature, full special defense investment as well, and Toxic Spikes, Yawn, Earthquake, and Haze. So the Unaware and Haze combo is just going to help those scary-ass sweepers be managed. It'll make Blaziken Sword Dance and Speed Boost go away. Ooh! Can make Dragapult, and Gyarados' Dragon Dances go away and get rid of those nasty plots out of Darkrai. Yawn lets it phase really nicely. The Toxic Spikes here will let it do some true percent health damage and also break sashes on mons like Blaziken and Darkrai that might be using them. And then the ground coverage is also really useful, hitting chip and even securing some KOs to those ground weak mons. Yawn, of course, as well, is really good for phasing and getting scarier, more damage dealing opponents on Cloudsire's team, like Ogre Pawn and Raging Bull, onto the field. Next up, we got Tawny T running a substitute set this week with a Citrus Berry. So the agility will, of course, let it outrun absolutely everything. I think that 88 speed lets it outspeed a +1 Gyarados or Blaziken, but I have to double check that. And the substitute on that set allows it to punish one of these more passive ways of dealing damage or controlling it, like a Spore from Amoonguss or a Toxic from Palo or Galarian Weezing. So it's there to help facilitate that agility and then turn it into some damage with that modest Bleak Windstorm and Dark Pulse. Finally, we got Hoopa rounding it out with another Trick Room set, a Terra type of Ice, max HP, max special attack, and Focus Sash. So, looking at this set, we've got Trick Room. It kind of hits a middling speed tier against Archie's team. There's a lot that underspeeds it and a lot that overspeeds it, but with the ability to set it up pretty reliably with that Sash, Hoopa can kind of choose what pace the battle is going. It's also just got some crazy special attack on it at 150, I think it is, allowing it to, if it hits Focus Blast, do a lot of damage to a lot of different threats here. So, at the very least, this thing is going to probably be coming away with a kill, but if it plays its cards right and positions nicely, this could be a really big threat and punch some big holes. With that out of the way, let's go get into the replay. Alrighty. Cracking into this replay here, we notice a distinct lack of Dragapult, which is awesome. It keeps me from guessing, oh, is the Dragapult Will-O-Wisp Hex, or Banded, or Scarfed U-Turn, or it just removes a whole lot of guesswork out of this thing. What we're not happy to see, of course, is Darkrai and Blaziken both here. A Garganacl and Galarian Weezing, of course, for that backbone. Illumise to just cause me problems and headaches. In Season 1, Volbeat absolutely raneth my pockets. Volbeat, like, literally deleted my entire existence. It was horrible. Horrible sight to see, but we're not doing Season 1 today for a reason. Anywho, cracking into this face-off, we got Stakataka versus Illumise on the field. Now, Illumise probably can't do much damage here. It is a Terra Captain, I believe Terra Ground, so it does get that quad Earthquake or Terra Blast or whatever. I don't even know what its higher attacking stat is, in all honesty. I'm assuming it's special attack. But Peever's Cuomo is threatening some kind of a rock move. And also we're going to see here that the set I have is wrong. The set we went over in the beginning is not Stone Edge, as I believe it was written. I'm running Rock Slide. I'm also running Stealth Rocks on this. So Malphite comes in here, that Garganacl, which is exactly what we want. And we get this quad effective body press, which is not what we want. The Stack Attack is Terra Fighting, so we really should have Terra'd here. That's honestly just a big fat blunder on my end. We could have taken, like 15% on that instead of 65. So not looking good, but we get those rocks out. Now we're going to see the Terra coming out into the Earthquake doing peanuts this time, and a Trick Room, so we're outspeeding. Body Press coming in for the Choppleberry to reduce it by half. Now that would have been a big 54% chunk. But the Choppleberry tech, which I'm assuming it is exactly for this scenario, pretty good. Nice building there. And we see the Salt Cure come in, which is exactly what we want, doing a little 4% and getting that Body Press to dispatch Garganacl now. We get the defense boost to raise Body Press again, and Illumise comes in here to prankster through the Trick Room here. But at this point, Stakataka has done his job. I'm pretty happy. Now I just don't have to think about Salt Cures hitting my other people like a bulky Raging Bolt or my Clodsire and just whittling it down in a way I can't deal with because I'm not running much recovery here. Moving on. Rocks into the Illumise and a Terra Ground takes that Rock Slide like a champ. And the Air Slash killing poor Stakataka. So it goes. Both Terras have been burnt here, and Hoopa comes in, not being able to use that Terra. Rocks go down, which is nice. Shadow Ball coming for the chip. I'm not sure if Hoopa could have killed here. I haven't run the calcs because I'm a lazy bastard. But nice chip, and with Trick Room about to go off, Hoopa underspeeds, gets Toxic, and that Focus Blast comes out. So now Hoopa loses its Sash, and Darkrai comes out. I'm thinking here, I don't want somebody to get predicted into and take a big hit. Hoopa, honestly, isn't looking that grand. It can do damage for certain, but it's not going to be able to get that Trick Room up without a Sash, and it's going to be just a lot harder for it to control the battle the way it wants to. So for Owen's birthday, which is when this was being fought on, Darkrai gets a nice Dark Pulse kill, hitting like a slug to the back. Clodsire comes out, and the Darkrai going away probably shows no Ice Beam, though with so much special defense on this guy, I'm not sure how that'd be doing. We yawn to do the phasing and get that Belveth Drowsy, that Galarian Articuno there, and we swap in my own bird. So we got bird on bird combat. This is like pigeons in New York. We're going to town here. Anyways, sleep on that Galarian Articuno, letting me set up this agility on, substitute first on Peeb Erdy. A one-turn sleep. You see not like this in the chat. We do not want that horrible substitute sweep, or at least we being Archie and the rest. But we get the Ancient Power breaking the subs. Tailwind is up, so it's outspeeds, but agility into the Mirror Herb. So now this Galarian Articuno is still outspeeding, threatening that super effective Ancient Power with no Sash this time. Sorry, not Sash, sub. Pretty awesome tech here, I can't lie. This thing could have totally put a big old hole, but we'll see how this checks in. Living that Ancient Power pretty handedly. Thank the gods that we didn't get an Ancient Power boost. That Omni boost would have probably spelt complete doom for me, especially if this was running like an Air Slash in the back. I'm not sure we can look here. Yeah, we only see 2 move slots here. The boosted Air Slash could have cut through like Ogerpon. Ogerpon's her name. Ogerpon, and then something to deal with, like just Psychic Stab could have really messed over Clodsire, and maybe even Raging Bolt. Though I guess we have that Thunderclap on hand. But Dark Pulse coming in, doing a solid 46%. The Tailwind is gone, so now we outspeed here, and we get a better roll and kill. No flinches today, thank God. I didn't want to cheese it that way. Hence the not like this from earlier. If you remember week 1 against my sister where I flinched her 6 times, that made me feel dirty as a person doing that to a member of my own blood. But Galarian Weezing comes in here, presumably special bulked up. What does it do? We get the substitute, and it's Strange Streams here getting that up, doing more than a quarter. So with this quarter of health and the guarantee that Strange Stream will break, we can't sub here, and the Tornadus T just Bleak wins, taking a pretty solid chunk there and dying to Strange Stream. Now, Darkrai here is still at 100% health. Blaziken as well. This is anybody's game at this point. Clodsire here, knowing this is Levitate, can't do any damage, but we can phase it with Yawn, allowing maybe somebody in. So let's see it here. We get the Flamethrower, which Clodsire eats handedly, and we get the Spikes. Now this is actually pretty nice because it breaks a Sash on both Blaziken and Darkrai, which is pretty dang useful because it just it provides a potential action economy of 2 turns for 1, in which those dangerous sweepers do not get that speed boost and that extra attack off in the case of Darkrai. So it's pretty nice, and we know that this is a Levitate because the other 2 abilities on Galarian Weezing, Neutralizing Gas and Misty Surge, both declare themselves, so we can process of elimination that out. And that means that there's probably not going to be time for this Toxic Spike to be going down, unless, of course, Galarian Weezing is running Defog. But we saw Defog out of Illumise already, so there's a solid chance that this isn't actually going to go away and do its job. Blaziken comes out here, getting poisoned, and another Toxic Spike going up, which is probably unnecessary, but hey, you get that extra damage. Scorching Sands now, I'm not going to lie, I didn't realize that Blaziken had like 110 special attack. I thought this was like some crazy Season 1 special Arctozolt kind of shenanigans. I thought that this was like the special King Gambit kind of set that you see on ladder for some reason. So I was like, holy shit, this is peak. But apparently, Blaziken can just perfectly finely run that special attack. Unfortunately, into a max special defense Clodsire, as peak as Scorching Sands is, it's not exactly what you like to see, but it would have been lovely for that Raging Bolt in the back if it had come out. The Poison's going to take the Blaziken down here. This coming back out with a Flamethrower and another Yawn to phase. Here, we see the swap. Now, a Sludge Bomb would have been a really bad news bears here. But we see another Flamethrower which hits neutrally for 25%, and of course we've got that bulk on Ogerpon helping it live a little bit better. And the Weezing goes to sleep. We see a Trailblaze out of here, so this allows me, even with like a one-turn wake up and a Sludge Bomb, if I die, it's worth gambling the outspeed on Darkrai, in my opinion. Just to secure this endgame and not let like a chipped down Ogerpon die to Darkrai and then get swept by Ice Beam. Anywho, the speed goes up and we Zen Headbutt here, hitting super effectively. Darkrai comes out and gets Toxiced. And here we Ivy Cudgel, just barely living. A Sludge Bomb, the Toxic goes down, and we Ivy Cudgel again for a end to a really good game. That was a very tough team to prep for and a really exciting match to fight out. 26 turns. Archie, once again, if you're listening to this, GG. You have drafted an incredibly nice team. Very good balance of offense and defense in there. And yeah, that's all I got for you. Thank you for listening. Bye.